Hi everyone, thank you for coming back to my channel. I'm Stephanie if you're new here. For today's video, I'm going to share 4 crock pot meals with you guys. So the first one is going to be a cranberry barbecue crock pot meal. I will leave the recipe down below for all of these recipes. We are going to be making a chicken and rice soup. We are going to make a whole chicken in the crock pot, and then we're going to be making a ranch tomato roast. So I add a little bit more roast than maybe what other people do. I know I have cooked about 3 for our family before, but for this recipe I doubled it, and that was enough for us. So some of these recipes I already doubled, and you can just make it to suit what size you need for your family. Otherwise, make up a bunch and then just freeze the rest, and you can have it at another time. So I will go over everything for each individual recipe, and then I will leave all of that down below. I also am going off of some, I think there's like 1 or 2 maybe from Pinterest, and then I have some from Crystal Lopez, the packet that I just recently bought from her. I will leave her link to all of her freezer meals and stuff down below. And if you guys are interested in any of what she has there, she has a lot of good deals. If you sign up for her email, she will email you when she has discounts and stuff on her packets. So I will leave all of that in the description, and you guys can go check out some of what she already has made up. I will leave the one that I'm going with for this time for these, and then next month, it all depends on when this video is going to go out. So I will have more freezer meals for you in September. I probably won't be adding them to the crock pot. I'm not quite sure how I want to put that video out yet, but I know that we are going to be making a bunch of crock pot freezer meals in September. We are in August, the end of August right now, and I made these up really quick for this last month, and this is just stuff that I needed to do quick for some of our meals. I did mention on some of them that I was making them ahead of time, like the night before, just because sometimes me getting up in the morning and starting the crock pot in time doesn't always work. I usually use my Instapot, and that goes a lot faster if I need to quickly get a meal in. I usually like to use my Instapot in the afternoon because it's less time. A lot of you guys wanted me to do some crock pot meals for you guys, so I have 4 of them in today's video, and for next month we will do more for September. So all right, so we're going to continue on with the recipes that I want to share with you guys today. And if you guys have any questions on anything that I mentioned for this video, just leave me a comment down below and I will answer all your questions. Right, so we're going to start out with the cranberry and barbecue chicken first for this recipe. So I'm adding in a couple cans of the whole cranberry sauce and just add it to the side. You can add it to the bottom too if you would like. I added almost a whole bottle of barbecue sauce, and you can add any kind of barbecue sauce that you want to this dish. It doesn't matter. And that is pretty much it for that recipe. And we ended up siding it with some green beans from our garden and then some rice also on the side. And everyone loved this recipe. It was so good, and the chicken was so tender, and it was just delicious. All right, for this recipe, we are going to be making the chicken and rice soup. This is pretty similar to how I make my chicken and noodle soup, so it's not going to be much, different than that. So the kids should probably like this. I'm going to add everything to my crock pot. Most of the time, I add it to my Instapot. It's just faster for me, but I thought it would be a good idea to just share some crockpot meals with you guys. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for some recipes, so we're gonna share some with you today. We're going to Evelyn sneaking some carrots. So what I ended up doing is adding whatever chicken I had on hand, and I think I even did some chicken thighs and some chicken breasts in there. I kind of just mixed what I had on hand, and it'll be fine. So I cut up my onions, my celery, and all of my carrots. I added some seasonings. I added some chicken broth, some salt, pepper, and I ended up cooking it on high for about 3 to 5 hours. All right, so it is finished. I added some rice to the side, and that was that recipe. I wanted to put this away right away because I didn't know how many of the kids were going to eat it right away. So I ended up adding it to some of the bigger jars that I had on hand. But some of the kids were sneaking in and wanting a quick bowl full of it. So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up filling up about 1.5 of these large jars, and we just ate that up for lunch the next day, so I had it on hand. All right, I kind of noticed too that if I put these meals together at nighttime and let them cook through the night, then I have them ready for the next day. Sometimes I don't get up early enough to get it done for the next day, put, it on in the morning and then have it cook for the rest of the day. Sometimes I don't have time to do that. I have a lot of chores and different things that I like to get started in the morning. And I found that if I just start these crock pot meals in the afternoon or closer to bedtime and just let them cook through the night, otherwise you can just turn it on low through the night. If you're not comfortable with that, then you can put it in right away in the morning, or you can put all the ingredients together in a bag, put it in the fridge the night before, and then dump it in your crock pot the next day, and you can have that ready. I'm just not good with that. I like to do everything in the afternoon. All right, so for this one, we are going to be making a whole chicken in the crock pot. I even do a whole chicken in my Instapot. The cook time is way less than cooking it in the crock pot. For this recipe though, you will cook it for 4 to 5 hours on low, and then high is 2 to 3 hours. Just make sure that it is cooked all the way through. So I added my potatoes and stuff to the bottom of my crock pot right away. And then I took out my chicken out of the bag and I patted it dry. This is one of our chickens that we butchered this year. We have a couple of them on hand for the rest of this year, so we should have enough, and then next year we'll do it all over again. So I ended up just adding a bunch of seasonings together to add a rub on top of my chicken. I did add some olive oil on top of the chicken. Sometimes I add like a whole stick of butter because we like it that way. We like to add butter to a lot of our stuff, but I just used olive oil this time and then just did the rub on top, so that turned out pretty good too. All right, now on to the last recipe. This one was kind of different. I added in 2 roasts, and I put a can of Rotel in there, and you can just use any kind of Rotel. I added some beef broth, some garlic, and mixed that a little bit on top, added some ranch seasoning, and put the cover on, and you're going to want to cook this on low for 8 hours. So I cooked this overnight also so that we had it for the next day for lunch, and then if anyone wanted it for supper, we still, had enough on hand. So that is what I did for this recipe. So that is everything that I wanted to share with you guys today. So if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.